Hi, Amanda here from Patchwork and Papercraft, and after an absolutely awful year, let's get started with some new crafts, shall we? Okay, so it's coming up for Christmas and I've realised I've got a couple of presents that I really no idea what to get. So the one thing that you can always rely on people loving to have is extra money, especially at this time of the economic crisis and all that. So I'm going to show you how to make a very quick and easy money holding card. And for this, you don't really need all that much in the way of supplies. You need one sheet of A4 cardstock. Now this is 300 GSM. You need one piece of paper, pretty paper, measuring around about 8 inches square. You will need one DL envelope. That's because they're long, but you know. You will need one piece of ribbon, any sort, thinner rather than thicker, measuring around about 5 inches long. And you will need one, I suppose I'll call it an ornament. Now you can use that sort of cutout if you want, or that sort, or you can do what I did and fussy cut an image from a bigger sheet of paper, and that's the one I've fussy cut out because I think it's quite nice. And you get your hole maker and you make a hole in the top to give you somewhere to hang it. Now you can do that with the others as well, of course. You can come in here, make a hole in this one. See? So there we go. That's all you have to do, and that's now prepped, ready for making. Put those to one side, put the paper to one side. So first off, we've got to fold our card. I have actually pre-scored this piece to make things a little bit faster, but I will show you. Just checking I've got it the right way round. Yes. So we are scoring this at 1/8 before 4. So that's 3 7/8. And we're scoring it at, if we turn it round, do the same thing again. So 1/8 before 4, 3 7/8. Now if you do that, what you will find is that your pieces will fold when you do fold, and make sure they're lined up. This one, make sure it's lined up before you seal it down. There we go. You will find that it'll make this will meet pretty much exactly. Now I'm using an UK A4 piece of paper, piece of cardstock. In the US it is slightly different sizes, so you may want to experiment a little bit, but you know, it won't be far out. Okay, next up we need to cut our paper to fit. Now this is an 8 by 8, and as you can see, it's about the right length, but of course across it's far too big because this is 8 and this is only 4 1/8. No, sorry, 1 before 4. So we want to cut it at 2/8 before 4, which is of course 3 3/4. And we're going to want that twice. You can have them different papers if you want. I just like having them the same. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just quite simply stick that on the front. So I'll use my my little Petunia glue press, marvellous thing, especially if you've got hands that don't always work like mine. Yes, they're a little bit expensive, but really they are absolutely a game changer. And I know card makers use that term quite a lot, and it tends to be a bit meaningless, but in this case it ain't meaningless, I tell you. There we go. And that's made it with just a tiny frame all the way around. Of course, if you don't want a frame at all, you can cut the cardstock down by the 1/8 and make this an 1/8 wider. We'll just cut the cardstock down. But anyway, that's the outside. And then on the inside, I'm going to use a hole punch. You don't have to. You can, of course, use just, you know, a pair of scissors to do this. But roughly halfway down, I don't know if you know this, on the side of the presses, you've got these little marks. That shows you where exactly halfway through the thingy is. We used to have to do it this way up to try and work it out. You don't now. They have given you little marks to be able to work it out. So pop that into roughly the middle, line it up on my head. Yep. There we go. And pinch it down. And of course it hasn't cut out completely, so I'm going to have to use my scissors anyway, because it's 300 GSM. The thicker your cardstock, the harder it is to cut through. There we go. Let's cut that through. Alright, so what we want now is stick this on. And then I'll have to cut that hole again, because I wasn't thinking. You can do it both at the same time if you think about it. But never mind. End up with the same, don't we? You don't need oodles and oodles and oodles of glue, by the way, because I mean they're only going to have to hold for a short while. Once your recipient has received it, they'll throw it in the bin, so you don't need it to have to be so strong that it lasts forever. Okay, let's do that again. Do it upside down this time so I can actually see what I'm doing, to make sure I line it up exactly the same. Oh, what's the matter with this? Gotcha. It's getting quite old, that. Well, there we go. Now they're not quite the same, so I might just trim that off with a pair of scissors. I don't have any of my little scissors in here at the minute, so we'll just trim it off. I'm using these big ones. There we go. There we go. If you want a smaller gap, you can of course do a smaller gap, but I like a fairly large one. Then you want to apply glue down one side. You can use sticky tape if you'd rather. And down that side. And close it off, pushing it ever so slightly inwards from both sides. That's so you've got a little bit of a lift so you can get things in. Press down. And that's your basic card. Now, to make it look a bit more special, we take our ornament or piece of ornamental art and our ribbon, poke one inside the other, like so. This ribbon's a little bit thicker than I would normally use, but that's all I've got, so that's what we've got to use. There we go. Then what we need to do is make a hole in the card ready to put the other end of the tape in. Now, what on earth I've done with my actual cutting device, goodness only knows, because it's not, doesn't appear to be here, my knife. So I'm going to use this instead, and I'm going to make a hole about 1/2 inch down and roughly in the middle. I'm going to make it a little bit larger, but I'm just moving this across a tiny bit, make a sort of an oval. Normally I'd just put a slit. Then we feed the ribbons through the hole. Won't go through, right? We'll make it even bigger then. No problem. Make a bigger hole. There you go. Decide whereabouts you want it. Yeah, I think that looks quite nice. So we'll turn it over. Now you can glue this down, you can sellotape it down, and you can glue dot it down. I want to use glue dots, or attempt to. These are very, very old, and when I opened it, all I got out was dust. So we'll have to hope that they're actually strong enough to work. The idea of using glue dots, of course, is that the recipient can take this, remove the ornament from the card, and use it on their Christmas tree if they want. There we go. And all that leaves to do is to put your money in and write your comment. That's it. Fit very nicely in your DL envelope. So that's your lot. Do excuse me for my nails. I had them done and I went on holiday for a weekend, and it's come back and it looks awful. So we'll just hide the ones that don't look nice, shall we? There we go. Nice, straightforward, simple gift for Christmas. Shown in real time. 15 minutes beginning to end. Okay. Bye.